Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at my family's microwave. This is a GE microwave and it's doing something funny. Let me show you what it is first and I'll talk to you a little more about what's going on. So the first thing I'm going to do is open the door like I'm going to go make a bag of popcorn or cook something. Did you catch that? The microwave is turning on when I open the door. So clearly that's a bad sign. This is out of service. It's in the garage now because this does not belong in the kitchen at all. So let's begin the process of trying to fix this microwave. The tools that you're going to need to do this project are going to be as follows. The first is we need a long, narrow, flat blade screwdriver, or essentially a really long, thin pry bar, but you're going to want to have a little bit of length on it because you're going to need to be able to have a little bit of a reach to go get your tool down to be able to loosen a couple connectors. Second, you may want a pair of pliers to be able to help loosen one of the plastic locking tabs. And then the other tool that you're going to need is going to be a Phillips number 2 screwdriver. So today I'm just going to use a bit driver here, so it's a Phillips number 2. But then the trickiest tool of them all, or maybe the less common one, is a T20 security Torx. If you can see that, you can see the security Torx has the hole in the middle of it. And so that's what GE uses on the back to secure the back side of their microwave. Even though the sides show Phillips, you need this T20 security Torx. So if you don't have a set of security tamper bits, I'd recommend getting one of those and having that in your toolbox because you never know when that'll come in handy. So also if I can put a link below to a couple different variants of these tamper resistant or tamper proof bit sets. Another alternative for the T20 bit would be to get a T20 security bit socket. So here's one here. This is on a 1/4 inch drive and you can see it's got that hole in the middle. You can also find, if you look by your Allen or your hex keys, that sometimes you can find sets of the security Torx hex keys as well. And so with that, let's get started on this project. Okay, with the power turned off and the microwave unplugged, I'm going to turn my attention to the slots where the door latches into place. If I look here at the bottom slot, I can see, if you see my screwdriver tip here, there's a green switch that gets activated when the door is closed. And if I press on it just right, hopefully you can hear that. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if you can see that, but it's green. If I look at the top slot, there is no switch that's visible. So my concern is that maybe there's a switch that fell out of place. On the door, you can see there are these two mechanisms that activate those switches that lock the door closed when the microwave is operational. And that's what triggers the switch. And then when I press the door release button, it should release it to pop the door open. And so I think there's a problem right in here. So we need to be able to get here. But to get there, we're going to have to remove a bunch of other screws to be able to get access to this little side panel here. Now I know if this were an over-the-range microwave, there's some easier ways to get to it. But since this is a countertop microwave, unfortunately we don't have those options available to us. To remove this outer shell, we're going to use a Phillips number 2 to remove the screws on either side. But then on the back, GE got tricky, and you're going to need a T20 security Torx to remove these screws on the back side. So that's probably the most tricky tool on this that you're going to need. And that's going to be a T20 security Torx bit or Torx driver. And so now I'm going to remove these screws and we'll come right back. If you want to remove the door, at the very top, there is a little piece of black plastic that all you have to do is take a flathead screwdriver, slide it to the left, then you can pop the door up. So to do it, I'm just going to take my flathead screwdriver, take this little tab, put it over and lift the door up, and the door pops right off and can be removed successfully. And now after all the screws are out, I can now see a little bit more about how this all connects together in the sheet metal that wraps around this. And then now to remove the housing, you're going to give it a pretty good snug or a pretty good tug back, because you can see there's a few little crimps here that snap this cover into place here on the front. Then after you get that out, then you can remove this and pull this back. With the microwave, I guess we'll call it the cover off, I'll give you a quick look here at what makes this slightly difficult, or it might give you a little bit of extra frustration getting it off. See, there's this like long channel tab on either side, then a long one across the top, and that's going to snap into the side walls that are in the front. And so when you go to pull this off from the back, because this removes and gets pulled off from the back, you may need to push across the top gently to get it off, but it's going to have to just be gentle but solid pushing to be able to unlock these. And when you go to reassemble, make sure you get all these channels lined up right so it snaps in and gives you a nice, good, tight fit. Then interesting here, I'm intrigued that there's actually a little bit of an envelope that I had no idea was hidden up here. Do not remove envelope or destroy contents. Replace contents in envelope. And it looks like it is a electrical service diagram in there. Interesting. Nice little surprise tucked away by GE on their microwave. So the top here we can see the parts. Where we're interested in is going to be the switch panel, which is right here, where there's one switch here and one switch at the bottom. In fact, there's actually two switches, and we're going to get to that. And we're going to have to get to the screw right here at the bottom and a screw right here at the top. And then we should be able to have full access to those switches, because those are the ones we need to check to figure out what's going on with this microwave. Now, after removing the screws at the top and the bottom, there is one last little locking tab right, see if I can get the camera in the right angle, right here, that has to be popped out with a small flathead screwdriver, and then the mechanism should come out. All right, so you can see we had to remove the toggle switch there. And then now we can pull out our actual door switches that we can check to see how these are holding up. Now if I check the bottom, we can see that right here on this green switch, nice positive click. But then at the very bottom, we've got this red switch that has no click to it. And I'm fairly confident that that is the source of our problem. And now it seems that I'm fortunate enough that in this case here, after wiggling with this, the switch popped back up and the little metal spring in it is still fine. So then we will come back over here and reassemble. Obviously your luck may differ. Like that. So there, that's clipped in. Then now we will have to reinstall this assembly here. If you had to, you just replace that switch there. Then now we have to put those two screws back in. And now we got our panel back in place there. And also replace this door latching lever here that I had to pop out earlier. It's got just a couple little tabs on either side. If we can get back in there to see the squeeze tabs on either side, just to be able to pop it out. And we can verify this red switch. Hopefully you can hear that. That was a sound we were not hearing before. So I don't know how long this fix is going to work, but it at least allows me to get the microwave back in service so my family can have access to the microwave again. And I'm probably going to order a replacement switch here. So I've got an extra one of those on hand to replace it with. And now the last step is going to be to put the door back on before we give this a test. It's obviously not going to work without the door on, so we'll do that. Pay attention that you got the both hinges lined up. You get that tab locked back into place. Then we're going to shut the door, and then we're going to open it. All right, so that's working. Now the next thing to do is to plug this in and to give this a test and to see if it now works like it should. All right, here comes the moment of truth. I've got the microwave plugged in. There, you can hear that. Now I'm going to open the door and see what happens. Nothing, exactly. So I think we're back in business. So with that, that's going to wrap up this video. If you found this useful and interesting, give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button for more helpful and useful information, and I look forward to seeing you back here in another video. Thanks and have a great day. Bye. All right, so now we've got the envelope that we found on the top of our microwave here out, and I really want to see what is in here. So if we open this up here, it looks like what we have is a diagram that goes with this that shows a few bits of information here for how to do a microwave leakage test. We also have other touch controls. We have the bracket here that has the door sensor, the monitor interlock, and the one that we had the trouble with was what they're referring to as the primary interlock monitor switch. And so then here is a couple of little tests here you can do with a multimeter to be able to test it. How to test door sensing. And then over to the right, we have a schematic diagram that shows the electric wiring in here. And if we flip this over, we have the other part of our wiring diagram, information about our door, how to remove the door, information on servicing the turntable motor, the key panel test with codes on it, and a troubleshooting diagram on the right. So lots of useful information in here. I'm actually very appreciative that they include this with the microwave. From what I could tell, this was not advertised as having had all this information in it, but I'm excited and pleasantly surprised to see that this actually has it tucked away kind of in an odd spot, but that's okay. I am pleased with that. And so if that's useful to you, make sure you take a look at that if you're troubleshooting your GE microwave. And with that, we're going to wrap up this video, and I hope you have a great day.